In today's video, we'll check out the SunFounder 10.1 inch IPS touchscreen display at a resolution of 1280 by 800. This unit includes speakers and is a 10-point touch panel. In this video, we'll unbox it, set it up with a Raspberry Pi 5, and check it out. Keep in mind there are many other devices you can use with this panel, which we'll also discuss. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm John, and welcome to Wagner's Tech Talk. I would like to thank SunFounder for sending over this 10.1 inch touchscreen for the Raspberry Pi 5 to check out on the channel. I've marked this video as sponsored simply because they sent it over at no charge, but no money exchanged hands. This display panel is an LCD 1280 by 800 10-point touch panel. A few key features is that there are no drivers to install, and it includes 2 speakers. Most panels that I've seen like this do not include speakers. Also, a particular note is that it works with the Raspberry Pi 5, which is what we'll be using in this video to test it. Inside the box, we have the touch panel itself, a 12-volt 5-amp power supply that will power both the touchscreen and the Pi 5, a pack of cables, speakers, and hardware that we'll take a look at in just a moment, as well as a clear piece of acrylic to protect the Pi. There are 2 small speakers that have an adhesive backing so you can attach them wherever you want. The opposite end has a 4-pin keyed connector, a USB-C to USB-C cable for supplying power to the Pi, and a short micro HDMI to HDMI cable. This USB-A to 4-pin connector is to support the touchscreen functionality. There are 2 different size standoffs that are also included, and some tape for securing the cables to the back of the panel. A few wrenches, a Phillips head screwdriver, and 5 M2.5 by 6 screws for securing the acrylic plate. On the back of the panel is the main board that has the power input, a standard HDMI input, and a USB-C 5-volt 5-amp power output. On the left side are buttons for the power or sleep state, menu, volume or brightness up, volume or brightness down, and a back button. To make use of this panel, you'll need to plug something into it, such as a Raspberry Pi Zero 2W, a 3, 4, or 5, but it can also be used with various other SBCs, such as the Banana Pi, Orange Pi, or a secondary PC monitor. As mentioned, I'll be using it with the Pi 5. I'll quickly add the official Pi active cooler. Just remove the small cover over the fan port, plug in the cooler such that the yellow wire is on the outside, remove the backing, line up the holes, and push the plastic pegs through the holes to lock it in place. Now we can line up the Pi to the standoffs on the back of the panel. Now we'll complete the assembly by using 3 M2.5 by 18 plus 5 standoffs. Just screw in all 3 into the 3 standoffs already provided on the back of the panel and through the Pi. Position the acrylic piece over the Pi such that the cutout is in the upper left corner. Then secure it with 3 M2.5 by 6 screws. Next we'll install the 2 speakers. Take the small keyed 4-pin connector and plug it into the port at the top of the main board and give it a good push. Remove the adhesive backing from one of the speakers and position it in the lower left of the panel, and do the same for the right. Take one of the pieces of tape and place it over the speaker wires to keep them in place. Next we'll take the micro HDMI to HDMI cable and plug the micro HDMI end into the port nearest the Pi's USB-C power input. The standard HDMI end into the main board on the panel. Plug the USB-C cable into the main board, give it a nice little twist once, and plug it into the USB-C power on the Pi 5. Now take the touchscreen cable, plug the small connector into the port at the top right of the panel. Be very careful with this connector as it is a bit delicate. Use your fingernails or a pair of tweezers to make sure it's fully inserted into the connector. Add another piece of tape to minimize stress on the connector. Slide the opposite end under the Pi 5 and into an available USB port on the Pi. I'll add another piece of tape here to hold the cable in place. And that's it. We're done with the assembly. One thing I didn't realize during the assembly is the difficulty I would have inserting the microSD card into the Pi 5. I was only able to insert and remove the microSD card by using a good pair of tweezers. This is an area for improvement. I would imagine a microSD card extender could easily solve this problem, but it's something I wanted to make you aware of. Either get some good tweezers or a microSD card extender if you'll be swapping microSD cards frequently. When it comes to a stand for the display panel, there are some options. I picked up this Amazon Basics folding stand, which worked out just fine. Another option is to use the included standoffs to create a makeshift stand. Take one long standoff and one short one and install it into this corner of the main board standoff. On the opposite side, use two long standoffs and one short standoff and screw it into the panel. This worked out even better than the Amazon Basics folding stand. Another more advanced option is if you have access to a 3D printer or interested in using a paid service, SunFounder has the files available on their website. I loaded it into my splicer to see if I could print it with my old FlashForge Creator Pro. And the way it's designed, you print a left and a right side, and they slide or snap together in the middle. There are also button extenders and an angled stand. I may give this print a try in the near future. If interested in seeing what it looks like, let me know in the comments. While researching the display panel, I came across something interesting that I didn't notice within PiOS. If you go into Preferences, Raspberry Pi Configuration, and select the Display tab, there is an option for an on-screen keyboard. It can auto-detect in most applications, but if you set it for Enabled Always, you always have an icon in the upper right that will allow you to toggle it on or off when needed. If you then launch Firefox, you can use it to type in a website you want to visit. This worked out pretty well. If you select a field on a website, such as a search field, the virtual keyboard will pop up as you might expect. However, I often use Chromium on the Pi rather than Firefox, and Chromium has an odd problem with the virtual keyboard. First, it doesn't automatically appear. Then, if I click the icon, I notice the Q and the K virtual keys don't work. It's not a problem with the touchscreen, it's clearly detecting it, but I suppose it's something off with Chromium. Another thing that you'll want to know. Firefox worked just fine during my testing. I checked out a number of applications such as Inkscape and other applications that I had installed on the microSD. The touchscreen was very responsive and I didn't encounter any issues. Tapping and selecting things on the screen was accurate and worked well. Just for grins, I fired up the Botspot VM to launch Windows 11. Check out the link above if you're interested in how to do that. I was curious how responsive the touchscreen would be using a VM running Paint. I was pleasantly surprised that it kept up pretty well. The virtual keyboard in PiOS didn't have any effect on typing within the VM, but if you launch Settings in Windows 11, then go into Accessibility, you can select the on-screen keyboard option and use the keyboard included with Windows 11. I then installed Ubuntu to make sure it worked well. Again, no drivers were needed, I just had to write the Ubuntu image to a microSD card. Then I went into Settings and Accessibility, then Typing, and enabled Screen Keyboard. Everything worked as expected here as well, and again, no drivers were needed. If you press the menu button on the back of the panel, you can enter the on-screen display setup where you can make changes to the picture, screen positioning, the color, the volume, and quite a bit more. In this example, I'll go ahead and crank up the audio, and let's quickly listen to how the speakers sound by loading up a YouTube video. In today's video, we'll take a look at several applications that can be easily installed using a free open source application installer called PiApps. Overall, I was fairly impressed with the speakers. They sound pretty decent for their size. There is much more that you can do with this panel, and SunFounder has some great project ideas on their website that are linked below. Some of those projects are monitoring 3D prints, retro gaming, home assistant, IoT, and more. I hope you found this video helpful in getting set up and using your SunFounder 10.1 inch touchscreen display for the Pi 5. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. All those things really help the channel. And with that, I look forward to talking with you again very soon.